I've never seen the original Cowboy Bebop. It's one of those shows where I know I'll enjoy it whenever I do get around to watching it, but so far I still haven't seen it. And every time I mention this, the usual response is, "Oh my gosh, how have you not seen Cowboy Bebop? It's like the greatest anime ever." I say that mockingly, but they're probably right. I've just heard it so many times that I'm tired of hearing it, so I decided I would finally give it a chance by watching the Netflix live-action remake of it. So I'll be going into it with a fresh take and no prior context or expectations of what to expect. At some point in the future, whenever I do get around to watching the original series, I'd be more than happy to go back and make a video about what happened and the differences between the two if that's something you guys are interested in. So if you're interested, leave a like and comment letting me know that's something you want to see. Anyways, Cowboy Bebop is an anime series that premiered in Japan April of 1998. Shortly prior to its anime's release, Cowboy Bebop was serialized as two different manga series, Cowboy Bebop Shooting Star and Cowboy Bebop. The series in Japan was heavily censored, and when I say heavily censored, I mean only 5 or so episodes were actually allowed to air. Later that same year, the series was able to be aired in its entirety. So eventually, when Cowboy Bebop made its way into the hands of Adult Swim in 2001, aside from toning down some of the violence and strong language for it to be TV approved, Cowboy Bebop finally premiered in front of a Western audience. Fun fact, it was actually the first anime to be broadcasted on Adult Swim. So needless to say, many people hold this anime very close to their heart. As for many, at least in the older generations, it was likely the first anime they watched. Regardless of whether it was the first or the most recent, the quality of Cowboy Bebop alone has stood the test of time and has remained at the top of anime lists for a reason. So when Netflix announced a live-action adaptation of the show, some were skeptical to say the least, especially given their previous track record. But still, nothing's been released yet, so... Oh wait, Netflix just tweeted something out. Whoa, it's a teaser for the upcoming live-action adaptation. Let's see what it looks like. At least, that's a majority of the reactions I saw. I don't really see a big issue with it, but then again, I also haven't seen the show. So I'm sure if I saw a big corporation puppeteer the mangled corpse of something I held dear, I'd probably be a bit more critical as well. Oh wait. Anyways, the main issue people had was the fact that Faye didn't really look like her anime counterpart. I think me showing an image will make that pretty obvious, but all in all, people were skeptical to downright shitting on the show already. Though it might be unfair, you also must look at why to better understand the reason people might feel this way. There are a couple reasons, one being that Netflix has already messed up previous live-action adaptations before, like with the creation of their live-action Death Note movie. Another being the fact that a couple days after the teaser was posted, an interview with the creator of Cowboy Bebop, Shinichiro Watanabe, resurfaced. In this interview, he talked about how he had little involvement in the actual creation of the live-action adaptation, stating that he read the initial concept and provided the creators with feedback, but is unsure if it will be reflected in the final product, even going on to state, and I quote, "I have no choice but to pray and hope it will turn out good." So with all of this in mind, seeing an image of the main cast, -1, not holding true to the image of their anime counterparts, most begin to worry about the quality of the production. This was mainly voiced through Faye's design. Since she looked the least like her anime counterpart, she caught the most flack. Now, obviously, attacking people online is not okay. However, something that never bodes well is when you strawman and taunt or talk down to those who might be upset about something. You could possibly even say, at that point, you're just adding fuel to the fire. For context, the actress who played Faye Valentine in the live-action remake made a video responding to the criticism surrounding her character's design.
And I just wanted to address a couple of things that sort of keep coming up in the comments amongst fans. First, I wanted to apologize to the fans that I did not anatomically match the Faye Valentine character. 6 foot, double D-sized breast, 2-inch waist. You know, they looked everywhere for that woman, and they couldn't find her. It's kind of weird. The other thing I wanted to bring up was I apologize that the outfit I'm wearing is not exactly what she wears in the anime. You know, we tried, but doing stunts in tissue paper, things disappear, they rip. Sometimes it just got lost. Anyway, like I was saying, that original costume, they made a couple of them, but like I said, they got sort of slurped up in my various crevices, never to be retrieved again. So we need to really build something that could withstand the test of time. So just, you know.
It's not wrong of her to respond, as I'm sure anyone would be a bit overwhelmed if a lot of people were suddenly criticizing something they probably worked hard on. But because of the way the video she made came off, it left a lot of people with a sour taste in their mouth, so they started digging. Through this digging, they found that there were some contradictions in the points she was making. I'm not going to get into it since it really doesn't matter, but the takeaway from this whole situation is that people were not happy with the live-action remake, and that the fate of that video is left up to whether the adaptation is successful or not, because either the video will be viewed as an epic comeback to all the naysayer if it succeeds, or justification for hating on it from the beginning if it fails. As if you want to taunt the hungry dogs, you better have some solid footing. But this time, the fool slipped. Like I said, I haven't actually watched Cowboy Bebop, but I have seen a clip of the scene that takes place in a gas station, which based on the opening scene of the live-action adaptation, I'm going to assume that gas station scene is the opening scene for either the anime or its movie, as that scene has been remade, or well, reimagined to take place in a space casino in the live-action version. Now, I'm not going to break everything down, let alone the whole episode bit by bit, but there are a couple things that happen here that will give you a good idea about how the rest of the show will play out, starting with the first couple minutes. I don't know if it's in the original or not, but these first couple minutes are a complete waste of time. I have no idea what the purpose of this entire monologue serves, and the only things I could gather was that he's a bad guy who hates corporations. There's a way quicker way to establish that than giving me a monologue about corporations. With a runtime of 60 minutes at your disposal, that doesn't mean you should make it feel like it's 60 minutes or longer. Moving on, Spike comes down the elevator and fights the bad guys, and this is a big point going against the remake, the action. It's a bit goofy, which isn't an issue. The problem is, it's inconsistent. You go from the really cool choreography of Spike using the guns to knock out the henchmen to fucking Star Platinum mere seconds later. The punches thrown never feel satisfying or like they're even landing. They try to mask it by adding a ridiculous amount of punching sound effects, but that honestly makes it worse since the audio doesn't match the action on screen. I think the scene that showcases this the worst is actually the workout scene, where it sounds like someone from the Johnny Test sound design team made their way to Netflix. Which is a good transition to talking about the comedy. The comedy is very hit or miss, but mostly misses. Actually, I think the parts I did find funny, like the juxtaposition of the girl crying as all the chaos goes on, or Jet saying,
"She's pregnant too,"
weren't actually intentional. If they were, good for them, those hit. Everything else though, specifically that cupcake scene, nah. This causes a problem mainly with Spike's character. I think the actor who plays Spike is good, I just don't think they really gave him any good lines. There might be some here and there, but for the most part, the lines he was fed make it sound like Spike is trying too hard to be cool. Almost like he's trying to say cool stuff to sound cool, but it comes off awkward most of the time.
He was shocked, and then he was dead.
Jet, I don't really have anything to say that I haven't said about Spike already. I think they both suffer from awkward interactions caused by their dialogue. However, then we get introduced to a new character, Faye. If she's anything close to how she is in the live action in the anime, I don't think I'm going to get around to it anytime soon. It's not just one thing here and there, it's the whole character. Faye in the live action is a very obnoxious and annoying character who has a very know-it-all attitude. This type of character can be done well, but in this instance, it just isn't. I think the worst part was that I don't think they intended for Faye to come off this way. Listening to the dialogue, it seems like they were really trying to make her badass, and unlike Spike who just has some awkward dialogue here and there that might just fall flat, Faye's entire character is like this, making her very unlikable and not that interesting when she's on screen. Aside from all that, there are some things that I actually liked. The first thing being is the opening. I know they just remade the opening from the anime, but that doesn't make it any less good. Honestly, I think it looks really good in the live action version. They really played to their strengths of it being live action, so some of the shots due to clever editing and cinematography look like they're coming right off the screen, like you're in a 3D movie. The other thing I thought was really good was a scene where Spike and Jet were discussing the new bounty. It was just a nice scene. It had a nice flow and the character interactions felt genuine and fun. I think these two things is what I'm frustrated about the most, however, since it shows that the show isn't bad, it just has a lot of bad elements to it, and that under all of that, there truly is something amazing lying beneath. So the only thing that kept me watching was the mystique of the world they lived in, which is also what made me stop watching after I finished the first episode. At some point, I really do want to watch and experience the Cowboy Bebop anime, and I'd rather not spoil myself of all the reveals and everything that happens in it by watching the live action version. So the second I realized that the only reason why I was watching was because I was only interested in the setting itself, I was like, and would rather experience that world in the way it was intended to be experienced. But hey, it's not like they changed a whole bunch of aspects about the series, but then kept the one thing that probably wouldn't translate very well into live action the same or anything like that. Wait a minute.
Yes, you are. You're Spike, Cowboy
bounty hunter for hire!
Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, then please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. Also follow me on Twitter if you want to keep up with me or any of my videos coming out in the future. Wow, 2 videos in a month? Crazy! Like I said, if you're interested in seeing a full breakdown of the Netflix live action adaptation, let me know in the comments below. But I think that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, watch the anime, read the manga. I'll see you in the next one.